Hey guys, Tarke here. I want to do a very quick and very tired gear guide on how to get super generic caster gear that you can use for the entire league and will hopefully save you some money in the long run. Now this is focused predominantly around Tricksters because of Tricksters have the most interesting gearing and, let's be honest, are the coolest boys at the moment. So thanks to Escape Artist, if you don't know, giving you +5 to evasion rating per 1 maximum A shield on helmet and +1 to maximum any shield per 6 evasion rating on body armor, I'm just going to list off a few items, not every item, but a few items you could use, which are super generic, can be used across a vast variety of different builds, and you can always feel good about using. So starting off just with chest piece, since this is where the most kind of options are. Shroud of the Lightless. Shroud of the Lightless has always been a very good and very generic chest piece. It is even stronger, however, on Tricskter, since it has a very good amount of evasion and energy shield. Now, a few people look at it and go, but Tarke, you know, why would you use this? It's only got 1k evasion. A bunch of other chests, you can get like 2k, 2.5k, 3k evasion. Well, it actually has that energy shield inbuilt in there. Generally speaking, you'll get more overall energy shield when it comes to using hybrid chest pieces to pure evasion chest pieces. Since it has socketed gems supported by a level 20 elemental penetration, so that's a fire, lightning, and cold penetration, if you're doing any tri-elemental build or any build doing lots of elemental conversion shenanigans, which I'll get into later, or just any build stacking a bunch of flat abyss sockets, it's really strong. Even if you're doing none of that and you're playing like a pure fire build, you can do a pure fire build with this chest piece, and then you could reroll a freeze pulse build if you wanted to. Do a pure cold build with the exact same chest piece. It's very strong. It will cost you a bit up front, but since you also only need to 5-link it, not 6-link it, it will save you a lot of money in the long run, and also since it only needs 5 links, it means that recoloring it is much less of an issue as it would be on recoloring something else. So, what is an issue to recolor, for example? The big boy main evasion item chest pieces. So, in my Soul Run character, I recommend people use either Kintsugi or Perfect Form as their 2 defensive chest pieces, both with quite high evasion, 197 and 170 dex requirements, sorry. You need to really commit to those chest pieces. You're not going to be recoloring those on the fly. That being said, if you plan around it correctly, and you maybe use some Varici up to 3 white coloring off colors. If you got like 3 blue, 3 white on a Kintsugi or Perfect Form, you're set to use those chest pieces throughout the entire league. Both of them are incredibly strong defensive chests, and you can't go wrong with either. Mostly will just come down to personal preference. On that note of very strong chest pieces that you'll definitely never regret owning, the Eternity Shroud. You probably won't own one because these are really expensive because these are ridiculously powerful chest pieces. But it gives you just like everything. It also has a good amount of evasion and a good amount of energy shield, as does every other chest piece I'm about to mention. But trigger level 20, Glimpse of Eternity when hit. It's like a bubble around your character. It's like a temp chains bubble, slows things coming in. It has up to 100 life, which is loads. Up to 23 chaos res, which is great. Has 5% of elemental damage as extra chaos damage per shape item equipped. Okay, that's pretty good. Pretty strong. That adds up very quickly. And then if you have complete shaper items, hits ignore enemy monster chaos res if all equipped items are shaper items. So why is 5% of elemental damage as an extra chaos damage per shaper item equipped so powerful? Well, starting off, just having extra damage is always good, but when you start doing conversion shenanigans, especially on a Trickster, that's when it gets really ridiculous. So, let's start off by talking about Harness the Void. So, Harness the Void has a chance to give you gain X% of non-chaos damage with hits as extra chaos damage. The way that conversion works in this game is it converts physical into lightning, into cold, into fire, into chaos in that exact order. So if you do just physical damage, it will convert your just physical into chaos damage. But let's say that you had 100% physical to lightning conversion. It will convert your physical to chaos. It will then convert your lightning to chaos, and it will like double. You'll get the conversion of both. It's very strong. So then some people are doing stuff where they're going, well, let's say they're doing Divine Ire or Storm Burst. They're going physical to lightning to cold, and then they're getting chaos damage from all of those steps. And then if you want to go very memey, you can go physical to lightning to mostly cold to then a little bit of fire, using cold to fire gems, Call of the Brotherhoods, Fist to Lightning gem, having skills with inbuilt conversion, etc. It can get very silly very quickly. Now obviously all of this is very generic because most builds, which are upfront damaging builds, will do either physical, lightning, cold, or fire damage. So if you stockpile gear which synergizes with that conversion chain, then you can do anything with anything. Same with Tricskter. Tricskter is very versatile in how it's set up, meaning that if you want to play a CI build, you can sort out your defense for CI and your mana sustain for CI. If you want to go for hybrid or EB Mom, you can do it all very, very easily. Tricskter is one of the most versatile ascendancies right now. If you were someone who just had one build and you only played one character and you respect it every couple of weeks to play something else, 100% just go with Tricskter. You'll be a-okay. You'll be able to do anything you want to do with it. Very, very solid. So, getting back in game, let's talk about this very silly Shaper mod. Gain percent of elemental damage as extra chaos damage. It's actually really common. I've only got the tier 2. The tier 1 goes up to 20%. And again, it is pretty ridiculous. If you had a couple of thousand alterations, some regals and some annuls, you could very easily alt-craft the multi-mod a pair of ones that you would never replace, no matter what build you're doing, which would be some mix of like spell damage, gain LE damage as extra chaos damage, and then some increased spell damage, and then trigger softed skill, and maybe some multi, and you'd be like, I'm done. I don't need to change anything ever. If you know that you're going to be doing a lot of physical based stuff, then obviously you're ideally looking for all of the gain LE as extra chaos, gain physical as extra elemental. Then it gets ridiculously stupid, but then that's slightly more niche because you're kind of trapped into the physical based skills. But you can't ever go wrong with those. Getting into helmets, the Gull is very strong, and every league someone's like, the Gull's really strong, and it's still always like a chaos to pick up in Trade League. It's really good. Because it has some energy shield on there, it does also have synergy with Tricskter, but it mostly has very good synergy in the fact that you can use on any build. It's very strong, and one of the shrines that it gives you, since the helm gives you shrines when you kill enemies, it gives you increased energy shield, evasion, and armor. Energy shield and evasion are very good on Tricskter. It also has very good synergy with another very generic item, Solstice Vigil. Solstice Vigil is great because Blasphemy Temp Chains is good on like every build. Temp Chains is very, very strong. Solstice Vigil is expensive, but you buy one, and then like any build you play, you've got Curses sorted out. It makes stuff like this scale really well. It makes buffs from Shroud like this or any other random piece of gear scale very, very well. On that note, it's Zeri's Step, actually very cheap, affordable item. If you just get one with a maxed out dodge roll and maxed out life roll, it has a bunch of evasion. Evasion's very good with Tricskter, and it's super generic, and you can use it on basically anything which isn't a CI setup. You obviously can get much better boots through self-crafted means, but you know, if you wanted for a cheap like starter package, if you did Zeri's Steps, the Gull, and maybe a slightly cheaper chest than Shroud, say a Carcass Jack, and you just had those 3 items on any Tricskter, you're sorted to play basically anything. Carcass Jack is a very good chess piece option in the fact that it gives basically a 7-link increased area of effect gem, bunch of generic area damage, some life, a little bit of all res, but most importantly, it gives a bunch of evasion and a bunch of energy shield, which is really good on Tricskter. Since it's hybrid based, it's also very easy to recolor. You're never going to be struggling to recolor it, unlike using Queen of the Forest that can see your perfect form. So yeah, basically, if you want to just play Tricksters, which obviously, of course you do, Trickster's the coolest ascendancy in the game, get some hybrid chests, get a bunch of elemental as chaos damage, and just sort of go at it. But yeah, that's kind of that. Trigger socketed skills is also very good when it comes to automating stuff. For example, I'm currently playing a Detonate Dead Selfcast character. I know I hate myself that much. And it automates everything I need it to. It automates a Wave of Conviction, which is free minus 25% elemental resistance. Very good on bosses. It automates Desecrate, so it gets extra corpse generation. It also gives me Cold Snap, which completely automates my Frenzy Charge generation, since it has 25% chance to gain a Frenzy Charge when an enemy dies while in the area. And on a build which scales area, that's a lot of AoE to be getting Frenzy Charges from. Then it also automates a cremation for me, and if you want to go for kind of memey setups, you can very easily roll 5-link one-hands. You can get a penetration gem, efficacy, increased area, control destruction. You can get stuff like volley and LMP, that's very niche. But yeah, trigger a socketed spell when user skill is really good. Dual wield is very good this league, thanks to the dual wield cluster. So, you know, play Tricskter, get some cool trigger socketed spell ones, and have at it. And abuse the hell out of Chaos Conversion. Anyway, I'm Tarke, I'm exhausted. Hopefully that helps some people trying to pick their next build. Hopefully it helps some people not knowing how to gear their generic Tricksters. Have a good day. Bye-bye.